Name is Jared, and today we are going to be talking about goal driven interpersonal conflict. In goal driven interpersonal conflict, a model that we can look at is TRIP goals. TRIP goals are goals that people experience when they are in interpersonal conflict. TRIP stands for topic, relational, identity, and process. Topic, the question that you're asking is what does each person want? In a conflict, somebody wants something. Do you want me to give you a promotion or a raise? Or am I expecting you to show up to this event? It's what do I want from you or what do you want from me? What does each person want from each other? Then there is relational. Who are we in relationship to each other? These are questions about how we interact together. These are questions about wanting to spend more time with someone. These are questions about wanting to feel more connected with each other. Relational goals are about relationships. And then there's identity. Who am I in this interaction? What does this interaction say about me? Because of this conflict, am I worthless? Because of what's happening in this interaction, do I have less value? That is what you're asking in the identity goal. What is the goal that's happening in your identity? And the process is what communication process works best? This is simply process. A plus B equals C. What do we need to do to get to the best place? And sometimes I believe we should take A plus B equals C, and sometimes people think A plus C equals D. We need to go this different direction. And so today we're going to talk about a few places that I have experienced conflict and analyze what trip goals have happened in those places. First, me and my wife, we just had our first baby about 2.5 months ago. And a conflict that we've been running into is my parents want more time with the baby than we can give them. The baby was born in August. It's their first grandbaby, and they want more time with him than we have to give. And so when we don't give them the time that they want with him, we've been getting weekly phone calls from them saying, hey, where are you guys? We're frustrated. I thought that we were your parents. I thought that you loved us. And there's these frustrations that are built up. And then we are frustrated back at them saying, do you not understand our busyness? Do you not understand where we're at? And the primary goal that these grandparents are having, my parents, is relational. They want to be in relationship with their grandchild. And so they are growing frustrated because their relational goals are not being met. And a sub goal is topic. They want to see the baby. There's an interaction they want to have. They want an exchange. They want to see the baby, and that's not happening. And so they're growing frustrated. And then when that doesn't happen, there is an identity goal. They feel less valuable when they don't get to see the baby. Next, a conflict over youth space. At my job, moving from relational to professional, I am one of the youth pastors at our church. And for the last 5 years, our youth has been out without a designated space. Old space is taken over by another ministry, but the church is significantly smaller in numbers than it used to be. We used to be at about 1,500 to 1,600 congregants on a Sunday morning. Now we're at about 600 to 700. And so there's extra space in the building. And so we are asking for a youth space. But all the space that we could have is being used. All it would take is someone to move to a different place that is more suitable for them, but that isn't suitable for the youth. And what's happening is my goal in this conflict is topical. I want coworkers and bosses and superiors to give us a youth space. But they don't want to give over their spaces because they have spaces that they have made their own, and it would be difficult to hand over. And some of the frustration is also happening in the process. The coworkers do not think that do not think it's necessary for youth to have a space to be successful. They are pointing out different churches who have different processes and saying these people don't have a youth space and it works for them and that's okay for them. So why can't it be okay for us? And so their frustration is going in process. My frustration is growing in topic. We have different goals in this conflict. The next one is, for the first 2 years of my marriage with my wife, there was this frustration and conflict over her changing her last name. We got married at the beginning of COVID, and at the time, changing the last name was really difficult. There was a lot of paperwork and processes involved, and so my wife, she saw this as a simply procedural issue. She felt that it was difficult and unimportant at the time and that it could wait. It's not that she's never going to change her name. She just doesn't think it needs to happen right now. But for me, I felt frustrated and sometimes even disrespected because I wanted us to have the same last name. And so for me, a driving goal that caused conflict is it was topical. I wanted her to change her name. I wanted her to take one name and replace it with my name. And that was my driving goal. But then a goal that was under that came from time without that was identity. I felt less valuable, frustrated, sometimes disrespected because of the lack of change. Eventually, she did change her name, and so that conflict was resolved, but this was a major conflict for a little while. And these were the 3 conflicts that I have experienced. We have conflict with the parents, that driving goals are relational, topical, and identity. We have conflict over youth space, which is primarily topical goals and process goals, and then the conflict with my wife over changing the last name, which was primarily topical, identity, and process. These goals are all troop goals, and this is how I have experienced them. In this, I have talked about and used resources from How to Have a Difficult Conversation by Cloud and Townsend, and Interpersonal Conflict by Wilmot, Hockery, and Barry. Thank you, and have a good day.